Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode number 170. This is reviewing the 1035th episode of the series, which is actually it's 1058, excuse me. The Man Who Came to the Police Station, and the newest of the manga, which I will name that later. It's an anniversary episode, this one. And basically, this is, well, next week, I should point out, though, next week is definitely a canon episode. Yeah, finally, we got back to canon stuff. Yep. So, what happens this episode? Well, we have a guy where Inspector McGuire is like, oh yeah, you're in arrest for murder, for the murder of this guy, and the guy's like, gotcha. And they're like, huh? Normally, they'd be like upset, but apparently he just really want to be arrested. Yep, and then they had to sort of, in a way, release him due to the fact they apparently had it where there was actually more than one culprit. Yeah, that proved to be somewhat of a lie. Yeah, I felt as though with this one that there probably was. This episode, based on basically how I'm watching it, it seems like basically there probably was basically going to be a second culprit. The one who committed the strangulation via, not by using bare hands, by using rope. Yes, rope. At least if the character getting shot. So, they got charged with mutilation of a corpse because he whacked him with a lead pipe. Yeah. So, McGuire just happily walks by Maury's office, and Maury just happens to come out at that very moment to see him. Yep. And there's Conan. Just happily there. By the way, McGuire, in this episode, is wearing his brown trench coat. A trench coat he is noteworthy for wearing a lot in canon episodes. He does wear it also a lot in the original stuff, but half the time he usually wears a gray suit coat a lot of the time. Now, that could be basically a nod to say, hey, that could say to the viewers, hey, next week's episode is going to be a canon episode because he's wearing his canon outfit. In the case of Maury, that's the usual outfit he wears anyways. Even, like, pretty much, very rarely he wears different attire. Conan, even in canon episodes, doesn't wear his traditional trademark attire. You know, the blue suit coat, the white shirt, red bow tie. This one, I think he does. He does basically wear it. So, after McGuire explains the whole murder thing, which happened prior to Vince's episode. So, apparently it took place 2 days prior. Okay. And of course, they show later on it actually happened December 29th. Okay. So, they investigating, of course, doing the autopsy. They confirm he was killed in the afternoon, not the evening. It's very disjointed, this one. Excuse me. So, after investigating and according to witnesses, and it turns out after, Conan knocks out Maury, that it turns out, yeah, this guy did actually kill him. They explain in the episode how he did it, where he just didn't exactly sneak home. Of course, he also had claimed that he had gotten a spare key to the front door, but I'll get to more of that. So, their theory of what happened was that he basically was allowed in as a guest. By the way, the reason why he killed this guy was because he dated his ex-girlfriend. This was pure jealousy. Yeah, old-fashioned pure jealousy. And the reason why his ex-girlfriend broke up with him, because the guy's a narcissist. That's the reason for it. So, he achieved his goal of making ex-girlfriend instead of killing her new fiance, who was actually quite nice a person. They describe him. So, after he's been there for a bit, he just strangles it with a rope, stays there for a while. Why in the world he stays there for a long period of time? Not even they know the reason for that. And then he just waxes the pipe, and then he, of course, gets up, especially in the middle of the afternoon, wearing a sweater and a mask. He also apparently took a time between murders to cut a hole in the window in the Japanese-style door. And, yeah, and afterwards, like, Is that just because he already confessed it anyways? He says, "Okay, take back my cell." And then the guy, they have more in the post-credit scene where he's eating at the restaurant next door, not the Parrot restaurant that's below his office. It's the sushi restaurant next door, and that's the episode. It's okay. It's not terrible. It's just basically just. By the way, the only other canon characters in this episode, aside from Conan, Mori, and McGuire, is Takagi and Keba. Now, McGuire does do some legwork in the episode. Takagi doesn't do very much, though. In the case of Keba, he does very little. He just shows up here and there, and that's it. An okay episode, but thank God we got a kind of episode next week. Yep. Excuse me. Now we're basically on to this is something I'm really excited about. Excuse me. This is the 1100th chapter of the manga. Congratulations, case closed, aka Conan, for reaching this number. Yeah, and this also is the first ever manga I've ever read where I got this far. 1100 chapters. Wow. You probably thinking, is One Piece next? Yes, it is. Yep. Though this particular one is sort of a brand new case and the return of the Kaido Kid. And you know what that means? Saneko's uncle, her father's cousin, aka her uncle, of course she calls uncle, appears in this chapter. Yep. Of course, he had this funny thing of Conan poking the silhouette of Oprah's cheek. I thought was so funny. So the chapter starts off with a sort of a flash forward. It's like, a new case begins. Conan is ready to fire Shanklar's gun in the elevator. However, the aim is teetering because two people in front of him are Zuza. Like, one of them is the Kaido Kid, the one is the real one, it was the Kaido Kid. And of course, Subaru's in the chapter, which I believe this is the second time he's actually in a arc where he encounters the Kaido Kid, which is interesting. So he's being dared to steal. What's the thing he's going to steal this time? A crown. Yes, a crown. So they basically put in this special room. So Conan, because his nickname is the Kid Killer, because he's always there involved in this case. Mori is not here, surprisingly. But because Kaido is here, the inspector from his manga series is here too. Because, of course, as they go in the elevator on the roof of this place. And they see Aza, who's also here with Subaru. And then we see here her uncle, who's got this weird thing that apparently had to bend down, except for Conan as a kid. Well, he doesn't bend down that very much. He refers to it as Vagina Road. It's a special anti-kid passage. Yep. And after crawling through it, they get to the door. And then, of course, obviously, because, of course, the Kaido Kid is here, the inspector's here too. Yes. Now I'm wondering, though, where is your beautiful daughter, man? Yes. So they show off the crown, and we see like how the room works, and we had a couple of praisers come and look at the thing. One is 71, it was 43. After that, they go to the break room and eat some sandwiches, and Wakagi is there. Yes, Wakagi. Which, fun fact, he's actually going to appear in next week's episode, along with Yonko. Yep. That's probably the reason why they're saving it for next week, is because he just returned to the manga after being gone not very long. Though, yeah, because they also spoil in here, something was spoiled not far back, he's actually Rum. Yeah, the mysterious Rum, which is Colonel Sebastian Morin, I think his name is. The one who was in the Sherlock Holmes stories, he was Professor Moriarty's second command. So, he's there to deliver sandwiches. And apparently then they talk about Wakaski, where he kind of sees the first. This is probably the first time I can think of these two ever interacted. And they have a flashback to the previous case where, yeah, it was like actually just a very recent case where the woman's like very creepy. It's like changed about her. Yeah, they would deliver sushi to 10 Elementary. I was leaving. I felt gaze turn around. who was staring at me with those eyes. Absolutely demonic. So that made me think there's something about her. Yep, not at all. She's not a teacher. She's just a bit clumsy. Is that so? Yep, and then they show, the fact that he's actually rum. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, they spoil the fact he's actually rum. Yep, he's the mysterious rum. So everything's all good. At that's because the Kaido Kid's there. Yeah, and 3, 2, 1. Smoke grenade. And here's the Kaido Kid. First time in a little while he's been seen. I think it's been about 20, 30 chapters since last seen. So, yeah, he's here. And he's going to steal the crown. Makes the crown disappear. And like, what? The crown just disappeared. Disappeared in line of that sound? The crown had been investigated from the world. What? Okay. Yeah. Which is interesting to say the least, but I always love when the Cow Kid shows up because he's just an absolutely fun character. Yep. And is it just me, or is it a prerequisite? Well, it's the same guy who works on it, where anytime the Cow Kid shows up, the inspector who chases him has to appear in the manga. I mean, when it comes to even the same thing for the anime too, even for the movies, generally a lot of time the Cow Kid does show up, the inspector who chases him is always there. But strange enough, only the first time the Cow Kid's ever appeared in the franchise, I think first, second time, where they actually had a guest appearance from some of the supporting characters from the series, but if you think about it, none of them really appear after like one time. Yeah, all the Cow Kid's appearances in this entire manga series, even the anime, only once do a supporting cast appear. Excuse me. Nobody else does. Which I'm like, really? You know the strange thing is? The manga for Cow Kid's been hiatus for several years now. I think overall they think it'll release like 36 chapters. It's not that long of a series if you ever get a chance to find it. Yeah, it's called Magic Kaido. That's the name of the series. I mean, it's publishing on and off since 1987. Yes, 1987. And if you're curious, the last volume that was released was 5 years ago. Yeah, and the previous one before that, 10 years. Before that, 13 years. First one was released in 1988, like the following month. Yeah, and get this, only 36 chapters in almost 40 years. Yeah, though there could be obvious reasons why the fact that the creator himself has never actually bothered to release any more of this stuff. It's very infrequently published. I think another reason for it is because he's so busy with Case Closed. That's probably the reason why he does not get time to work on Magic Kaido. Yeah, it says it's serious in hiatus, so keep the character on. Maybe I might see a manga chapter really soon. Who knows? And by the way, when they released the one season of the reboot anime, they adapted most of the manga. Yeah, on Thursday, I think they adapted all about 3 chapters, I think it was. Yes, I think that sounds about right. Mm-hmm. We'll give it as well. Okay? But yeah, I give the chapter roughly a 10 out of 10. It's really good, and I can't wait for the next chapter. Okay, so that's a particular view. And that's it. Videos like that. I have no more time to do videos tonight, so tomorrow, well, expect to see these long videos tomorrow. Baruto, the first one for Girlfriend, and maybe a comic corner. And that'd probably be it, okay? Next video. Bye.